What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. What's happening? Come on in. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat if you're black first. We are here at drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And we're going to have a conversation today that I think is actually going to be kind of fun and interesting to hear people's perspective on this. Lavar Ball made some comments about NBA hoes and or what he refers to as hoes. We're not running around calling everybody hoes or nothing, but you know that's like my friend Willie D always said that a hoe be a hoe. But we're gonna dig into that, the science of hoeology a little bit. And so to discuss this, I have two of my good friends, Jeff Lightsey Jr. from the Black Boss channel, and also Roger Suggs, aka Vigilante, from truththereason.com. What's going on, brothers?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So let's just jump into it. And I'm gonna pull up Lavar's quote. First of all, let me ask you guys this. Just Lavar Ball in general. He made this comment where he's basically talking about he's told his sons that they'll never meet a good woman in the NBA, and that you got to watch out for the hoes and little things like that. And I'm gonna try to pull it up. Everybody, put your hashtag B1 in the chat. I'm gonna show you guys the quote. I actually have it on my Instagram because I was real curious to see what the community thought about this. So if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna try to see if I can share my screen. Okay, there's John Thomas here. He's in here as well. Let me share my screen with you guys so you can actually hear the words directly from Lavar as opposed to my interpretation of what he said. Here we go. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins if you want to follow. And so let me just play this to you, and I'm going to turn the volume up.
Or I'm on to that. Because here's the thing. If you're in this profession, which you got all this fame and notoriety, how are you going to meet a good girl? You're not, because what you're going to meet her in the restaurant where you eat, or you're going to go to a club where you dance, or you're going to meet her at the arena. So I hate to tell you, you're going to meet a hoe. Just how it goes, son. And then you got to wonder, then the first thing they're going to say, oh, I didn't know you did that, man, with the Googling and all this. Oh, yes, they do. They know about you before you even get there. So, son, that's the bad part of the life you're going to get, is you're never going to meet a good woman. And by the time you do, let's say you get 30, and then you meet a woman, and she's 30. You got to wonder why she by herself at 30. So there's something that's dangerous, no matter how good they look. But have a good time, son. I feel bad for you, but hey, I love the fact you made it.
What happens if one of the kids brings home, in your words, a hoe, and you know that you got a bad situation?
I already see him. They already barbecue through here. I'm telling you. Oh, Lord. Hey, a lot of them look good, and man, but they got different motives. And hey, I just tell them to be careful out there, man. But you never gonna know what you get, because usually, where do you meet a nice woman? If you have a job and you go to your job every day and she works at the job, you see her every day. You know what she's about. You go to school, you see her all the time. You go to church, you see her all the time. My sons are not going to church every time. They're not in no school, and their job is traveling to 40 different states. How you gonna meet somebody and be solid? It's not gonna happen. Sorry, you have to retire. Or you're just gonna be running through a lot of girls, and then, and everybody can be good for a few months and fake you out. Because they're looking at it like, oh, y'all young. If I get pregnant, 18 years is some cash. Hey, I explain to them like that and just keep their eyes open and hope the best for them.
So what you're saying is your sons are going to be billionaires, but they're going to die alone.
Especially in basketball. You're not going to find them.
All right, so let me pull up my panel here. All right, so let's start with the OG first. First of all, I want to welcome John Thomas. John F. Thomas is a brilliant brother. He's a contributor also on the Black Boss channel. What's going on, John? All right, so let's start with Bidge. Give me your take on what Lavar said and what your reaction was.
He it's stereotypical. First of all, you don't know if some of those girls that they brought to the house was actually good girls or not. And, you do tell your kids certain things, but the way he said it to me was kind of disrespectful. He's the type of dad that, he promotes his son and all these different things, man. Anytime anybody give him a platform, I make it hot. I give him that. But I agree and disagree. It's the tone that he said it. He said that they're 30 years old, and you got to wonder why, why they're single. And the same thing goes for his son, why he's single. So I just think that I don't like it because when they say hoes, a lot of times, boys, they're not necessarily talking about white people. You know,
What do you mean white people?
like white women. Do they call when you mix hip hop and sports, even though we know athletes love to grab them a white lady, but a lot of time when you hear that whole word, do you think they really talking about white women?
Well, I think they're talking about women. I don't think he's talking about white women or black women. It sounded like he was just talking about groupies. I heard groupies. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Jeff? What was going through your mind?
So I think it's funny because LaVar, the reason why this is getting brought up, one, because LaVar said his son maybe in the next couple minutes be taking number 1 overall in the draft, right? So he's a really good basketball player. That's the only reason why this whole topic is brought up. But it also, he's talking from a personal experience. I don't know if you guys know, but LaVar has another son, Lonzo, who was drafted number 2 overall 4 years ago, and he has a white girlfriend that he had from high school, right? Like they were together in high school. He was drafted at 19, so right after high school, essentially 1 year of college, and they split. And I think LaVar considered her a hoe. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he is saying this. He's like, man, when you're worth 30, 40, 50 million dollars, it's hard for you to meet a good woman. And Lonzo's baby mama is white. So it's not, I don't think that he's just referring to just black women in particular, but I think he's talking from personal experience because when Lonzo and his baby mama broke up, the baby mama became an IG model. So she became what a lot of people consider a hoe because she was out here with daunting pictures, like, flashing half naked pictures and doing all this to get an income. And so that's why he is basically saying, I don't want that to happen to LaMelo, because the same situation, even though Lonzo knew her in high school, but she knew how good of a basketball player he was in high school, I don't want that to happen to LaMelo. So that's why I think he could be black or white.
Okay, so there was Lonzo and LaMelo. So he's got 2 sons in the NBA right now.
He's got 1 in the NBA and 1 that's going to get drafted here in the next 30 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, so like the NBA draft is tonight. So LaMelo, and that's why this is so relevant, because LaMelo is going to get drafted in the top 3. So a top 3 NBA contract in the draft is $30 million guaranteed, somewhere roughly around there. And that's why he's saying, you get $30 million, it's hard to meet a good woman at 19 years old.
John, what are your thoughts on that? What did you hear when he made that remark?
I mean, I just heard him keeping it real, because it's really cutthroat out in LA or just in the world in general. Like when you come into some kind of a status, you're not just a regular dude anymore. It's like the predators come out and they prey on you, whether that be people who just want to take advantage of your money via bad investments, or women who just want to be around you and act like they want to be with you just because they think a long term, because you to them are a long-term investment. It doesn't matter if I like you. It doesn't matter if I want to be with you or if we really match or not. All I see is dollar signs right now. And if I can have a baby by you, and we don't have to work out, but hey, you're gonna keep sending money. And if you don't, I can take you to court and say, I'm used to living this kind of life. I need this much amount of money to take care of the child, which is true, but also, it's really rough. I remember, like, before pursuing, acting for myself, I was telling this one girl I knew out here, and I was just like, I want to meet somebody who doesn't really care what I'm doing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't impress her or anything like that. And she was just like, oh, you need to watch out for them too. And I was just like, what do you mean? And she was like, there's women out there at these events who will act like they don't know who you are, who will act like they don't like what you're doing. And that's because she said she was saying from experience, so like, I have friends that tell me that they go out there to these events. They know this person is a basketball player or is a movie star or is whatever, a big personality. And they over there, some of them, they have their different tactics, but they act like, oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, just act like, oh, who are you? I don't care. and it's all like a damsel in distress, or just, you know, they're really the predator about to latch on to the prey. So he's telling the truth. I mean, sadly.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. To bring some balance to this conversation, we also have Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. How you doing, Tiara?
Hey y'all, what's going on? Hi, boy.
Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you. I think that it's interesting because Roger knows a ton about hip hop. He's like a hip hopologist. Jeff knows a ton about sports, and you and John live out in LA, and you know about Hollywood. And and I can tell you this. So I think it's really important to get a woman's perspective on this, because I do believe that there are games that do get run on people, right? And I think that, you know, and I know that people get accused of being sexist when they just warn guys about the game. Like, remember, Cardi B was out there bragging about what she would do to men, you know, that didn't know that she was on game. Like, they act like this whole damsel in distress thing is real, but there are people that can do some pretty sneaky stuff. So out in LA, just when you're sitting around women and you're talking to women, Tiara, what sort of energy do you see amongst women that might fit into that group? I'm not gonna say hoes, right? I think we should have a philosophical conversation about like what exactly is a hoe, right? But let's talk about a groupie, right? A groupie who clearly is like, I'm gonna trade what I got to get what you got, right? Like, what do you think? Like, when you've heard women kind of talk like that, or when you see that sort of thing, what have you seen just as a woman?
Right. So just because that's not, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just because that's just not the way I surround. That's not what I surround myself with. I don't really know a group per se. A lot of the women that I know that are in the industry are working women. They're producers. They're like me. They're producers. They write. They work professionally with celebrities. They're not trying to date them. They are working alongside of them. They are bosses, right? But there are some times where you may be at a party or a function and there's a woman like, I dated Chris Brown. And for us, we're just like, oh, okay. Or, you know, and then you keep it moving because I can't really relate to going to work and trying to date a celebrity, or I actually don't really like those types. I mean, it's not me.
Well, wait, I'm not talking
the women
about
that I'm around.
But I'm not talking about the hardworking women and the bosses. I'm talking about the hoes. I'm talking about the. Listen, like, I mean, we know that they exist, right? Let's. Is it sexist for me to say that groupies exist? Hoes. I'm talking about women who don't want to do the work, right? Who want to do the work behind the scenes. They don't want to show up and write a script. They're like, I'm not gonna write a script, but you're gonna pay me as if I did write a script. Like, you've never seen anything like that?
No, I'm not trying to say I've never met a groupie before. For sure, I've met a groupie, a woman, but I'm saying that those women, you kind of see them coming and you kind of stay away from them. Like women who flock to All-Star Weekend, you know to stay away from. Women that flock to certain things, that's what they're there for. But on the flip side of that, I feel like those men want those kinds of women, right? They're not looking for women like us, right? They're not looking for women like me, like my friends. Like, they're walking past us and they're going to the groupies, the women that are wearing the lashes and the long hair and that it's almost like a mating call for them, for each of them. And you just in the middle going, oh, okay, this is a whole situation happening. But I feel like men are flashy. They get the Bentleys. Can you hear me? They get the Bentleys. They get the Beamers. They get the expensive toys so they can impress women who are attracted to those things. I mean, they've worked all their lives, yes, to play the sport, but also to get the women. That's what men want. Like, y'all can say they don't attract those kind of women, but that's who they go for. So they get what they.
So you saying
that's what they want.
So you saying if you attract hoes, that means you're a whole magnet. Okay.
I'm saying that's what you want. That's what you want.
Okay, go ahead, Rod. What you about to say?
Yeah, you gotta remember, like she was saying, men's are simp too. Sometimes, in the book of Tariq, men can be simps. And like she said, they're looking for the easy girl. They're looking for the quickie. That's why they pass these girls around. There's certain girls that are out there like that are passed around from guy to guy. They share different girls. Sometimes these men be sipping. And, because just because they play basketball and they got money, sometimes they can't pull women.
Sometimes
Straight up.
Sometimes they just want trophy wives. Sometimes they want trophy wives. They want women. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I went to an event not too long ago before COVID. But there's a shift in the music industry, and I think it's like Jay-Z and Beyonce have kind of like created this like every man in the music industry is looking for a partner rather than like just arm candy, because they're watching people and they're going, oh, wives can really just contribute, like they just not pretty and that's it. So now when you meet a man, well, when I meet men in the industry, they're like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, you do what shows you produce on? Oh, that's cool. Oh, they're looking for women that can add to them. So, I just think it's a mentality for men with money. They're looking for a certain kind of woman. So I'm going to name a woman that I think is beautiful. I've seen her on several occasions, and she is just so beautiful. And it's Nicole Murphy, right? Nicole is gorgeous in real life. And I don't know a man who wouldn't want that kind of arm candy, but she knows she's beautiful and she knows she can probably catch any man she wants. So she uses that to her advantage. So it's a win-win for both of them, regardless of the intent.
I don't know about Nicole Murphy.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. What about Nicole Murphy?
No, Nicole Murphy is notorious for messing with married men. Like that is a real thing. I think Lisa Ray came out and said Nicole Murphy was trying to mess with her man, and the lady that played on Wait and Exhale, she was met. Nicole Murphy was out.
Yeah,
and Fuqua. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but let's give Nicole some credit now. Let's give her some credit. She had a long stint with Eddie Murphy now. A long stint with him. It's after she broke up.
Just want Nicole Murphy. I've seen her. I be like,
well, she bad. Oh, she bad. She got that long hair motion. She definitely got that long hair motion.
Well, Nicole Murphy, I don't hang out with a lot of Hollywood types that much, but when I was in LA, I went to a party and Nicole Murphy came to the party, and she didn't come off like a hoe to me. She came off like a peacock. Like she walked in and she had like a trail of people behind her. Like she knew she was the shit. Like she just was like
Hollywood. To me, that's that Hollywood life.
Yeah, I don't put Nicole in that category. What I heard with Lavar, right, was I thought it was an oversimplification, right? Like one thing he said is that you won't meet a good woman in the NBA. I don't think that's true.
That's not true.
Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with that either. I think you can meet a good woman. But what do you guys think about that comment?
It's a big business. It's a big business. In that game you're talking about, you got the OnlyFans, you got the models and stuff like that. But I think you can meet somebody. But here's the thing. For me, you can kind of know who's who. You're getting it on the first night. They're hanging out. You see these same girls normally running the same packs and the same events. You kind of know who they are. You kind of can talk to them and know what they're about. And a lot of them get played. Look at Scottie Pippen. I'm not calling this woman a hoe, but Scottie Pippen. What's the guy from Indiana that now plays for the Clippers?
Paul George. Paul George got caught in some situations. So it's like she was saying, it's some eye candy people that's been kind of passed around, or different guys, been with different guys, and they still mess with these girls. So it's that circle. But then there's other people that don't fall on that track. So it's one of those things. It's like business. Trust me. What he's saying is true. It's how he said it. I don't know if Lavar Sons are dating somebody you may not like, and to say that, you kind of got to watch what you say. He might have a girlfriend that he just called a hoe. You just don't know what's going on. And Lavar, he got no filter, but he loves his sons, sometimes to a fault. But it's a business, and you can swing it both ways. This is how he said it.
and he could be shooting subliminals to his son that's about to get trafficked.
Well, everybody, in case you wonder what we're talking about LaVar Ball's comment about he warned his son about what he calls the hoes in sports, which I saw that as the groupies, and he also said that you'll never meet a good woman in the NBA. I thought that was a little bit much, right? But he did make some interesting points in the sense that there are things you got to watch out for, and I can say that for sure. I mean, I think all of us have seen examples of that where maybe guys think that because she looks sweet and innocent that that you have all the power, that you don't realize she might be running a complete game on you. And we've seen that, right? We've seen people get locked up in crazy situations, but it goes both ways, right? A lot of times,
both ways.
Right. So okay. So here's what I also thought about, right? Was here's the thing. A lot of the groupies are like scientists. I noticed that, like, they're like scientists. Like they'll have statistics and numbers like memorized, and they know, I've heard, like, I've seen some of this stuff that people will come and tell me about where they'll know like what team traded you for, what your contract was. They also specifically, they have a specific target. They'll know what you like to drink, what you like to talk about. Like, they're really, really good at pretending to be like regular people, just innocent. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, oh my God, you play in the NBA? I had no idea. Right. And here's the thing, right? This is not a mark against black women, because, a lot of these players, they don't marry black. Well, LaVar Ball didn't marry a black woman. Right. His son ain't dating black. And so we ain't putting this on black women. Right. This is just, but don't get me wrong. I'm sure we got our share of whatever you want to call them. Right. But this is, usually they have that white woman on their arm. And it made me wonder. I remember back when I used to go to University of Kentucky, and I used to work at the front desk of the basketball players' dorm. And I would just see girls going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And most of these girls were not black. Most of them were not black. And a lot of times when I saw the black girl, it would be like somebody's real, like legit girlfriend. Like his girlfriend's coming to see him, like like we all did in college. But the ones that were just kind of coming in and out, they were not black girls. What do y'all think about that in terms of if you had a son going to the NBA, what would you tell him, John? What would you tell your son if he was going into the NBA when it comes to dealing with women and being smart about it?
Man, the thing I would tell, man, that's a loaded question. The thing that I would tell my child is, man, just basically be careful. I mean, have fun, enjoy yourself, be safe. Don't, strap up for sure. But, just same thing like he said, this is it's more of a dangerous game than a lot of people want to give it credit for. Like, it's really dangerous out there. There's people out there who, because we've talked about this before, like, if you don't have a certain kind of status, you're not getting any attention. You're not getting any kind of already. So with him getting into this air, I can't say that he won't meet a good woman. I can say for sure. I won't say that that's true, but I will say that your chances are so much slimmer now because you're just going to be around a whole bunch of people who just like you for what you're connected to, not really for who you are. I mean, because even you have celebrities that don't even have the right friends around them, so it's their friends are telling them to do the dumb stuff that they be doing. Why they be getting in trouble? Because your real friends would be like, hey man, don't do that. Don't go off on this person. Don't whatever, blah blah blah. You got too much money, and your mama's depending on you, your family, your cousin, all this other stuff. And like, if you can't even if it's hard to have just real people, real friends around you, it's going to be real hard to find a real woman who just really appreciates you for you. And it's already hard enough as a regular person doing that. I mean, this for men and women. It's hard for women to find a good man at times, and it's hard for a man to find a good woman. But at that level, at that height, your chances are so much slimmer. So I would just advise him to just really pay attention. Take your time with whoever you're talking to. There's no need to rush with anything. And, hey, whatever flags you see, take them at face value. That's who the person is. And I hope, good luck to you, because it sucks. It sucks. You're in an industry that it's really tough to find a genuine person.
Stop thinking money can. My thing is, I heard what you said and I agree. But see, that's what the problem is. Stop thinking because you're in the NBA and you got a lot of money that's going to override the character of a person. I teach my son, right from wrong. My son is pretty good in rap, Riz Illuminated, pretty good. See a lot of different women. Be smart. It don't change. I mean, the status and the looks of the girl may change, but who you are, knowing that your money can't buy everything, no matter what, because you got that status. There's too many examples, like we tell rappers, boys. There's too many examples of rappers getting killed, getting played, getting shot up, for you just continue not to pretend like you didn't see those examples. Too many basketball players have seen these examples. It's about knowing that don't let money blind you and stick to who you are. But sometimes, brother, it's who they are. Sometimes they, like she said, they want that quick fast. They want that one night stand. They want to hit the finest girl to say that, look who I hit last night. Look at this star I had. Look at this Instagram girl I had. Sometimes they're not innocent victims sometimes. Sometimes they're willing participants.
Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about for the people, the actual guys who are. I mean, because it all depends on this person, whoever you attract.
You can't brown brush it though.
I'm talking about for like, for instance, for me, for somebody like me, I'm not attracted to that because I'm looking for a genuine person. So, and there are other people like, not everybody in the world isn't like me. Everybody in the world isn't like you, but not every NBA player is like that either. There are some NBA players who are just they looking for a genuine person. For them, it's going to be really hard for them to find a genuine person because of their status, because of their money, because of their connection.
I don't agree.
So
I don't agree with that, but
I disagree wholeheartedly. So what you're saying is because they're good people, and they can't find Jim. Well, why do you gotta go look at the club? There's things you meet other business partners. You have a hometown you came from. It's all kinds of places. You looking for the people in the wrong places. You ain't gonna find them at the
everywhere.
Game or after the game or at the club or event. You might find that regular girl. It's all depending if you're so humble and you want some wholesome, then you're gonna value a person. That's all it is. Don't hit on the first night. Find out what you're about.
I'm not saying you can't find anybody in general. I'm saying that it's harder. It's harder to find somebody. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying for the person, it is harder, and you can't really.
But ain't good things hard? Ain't good things you're trying to get that's sustainable should be hard. Tupac said, "Baby, please me. I don't want it if it's easy."
I'm not repeating that though. I'm not repeating it. I'm just saying that it's harder. So it's just the truth.
The reason I pull LeBron up is because if you look at LeBron, right? LeBron is LeBron, right? He's going to be a billionaire one day. I'm sure he's had his fair share of opportunities when it comes to women, but in order to lock in his future, he went to his past. He's been with his wife for many years since high school, I believe, and I think there's a reason why this happened. I'd like to get you guys' thoughts on that. But I'll tell you that I think what probably happens is that people don't understand that the rules of relationships change when you become famous. Even with a little bit of fame. I'm not that famous. I'm a little famous though. And I found when I was single that the dating rules just changed. You would meet people that already were in love with you before you even met them. You would meet people that knew everything about you before you even knew their name. You would meet people that maybe get off on saying I was with this person or around that person, right? And what happens is that you don't you realize that when you are a person of some stature or you got some money or something like that, it's like wearing a costume everywhere you go. That those people that meet you, they only know the persona. They know the Superman. They don't know the Clark Kent, right? And they're already in love with Superman. So Clark Kent can't compare to Superman, right? So ultimately, it's interesting. When I saw LeBron, how he stuck with that girl from high school. It makes me think about Alicia. I knew Alicia when I was 22 before I had ever done anything, right? And in the course of meeting more than my share of people that were coming up to me, I wasn't getting involved in stupid situations, but the women were around. I just remember thinking, there is a comfort to somebody who I'll say this. There's a reason that I could say I met her in the library. You know what I mean? I didn't meet her in the club. I didn't meet her at the game. I didn't meet her backstage at a concert. I met her in the library, right? And I think that says something about how you choose who you meet, like who you spend your time with. Where you meet the women makes a big difference in the type of women that you're going to meet. Jeff, what are your thoughts on that?
So I just think, like, just to go back to LeVar's comments, it that makes sense, right? Like meeting your woman in the library, meeting your woman at church, or meeting your woman like in these hometowns and things like that. Like all of that is what LeVar essentially said, what normal people do. But when you're 19 years old, like LaMelo, you get drafted number 3 overall in the NBA draft, so you're going to get $30 million guaranteed. It's hard to meet someone because you travel to 40 states a year. You're on the road 200 out of the or 250 out of 365 days out of the year. You're going to 40 different states, and you're 19 years old, and it's really just hard to find a woman to settle down with. And that's the thing, like, not to say at 19 you want to settle down, right? Like LaMelo might want to explore what kind of women are out there for his first couple of years. But say by the time he's 24 or 25 or even earlier than that, he does want to settle down. It's hard. It's going to be really hard, especially if he continues to be successful, because people know you have $30 million in the bank, right? Like, and that's the thing. It reminds me of this show that used to be on TV called The Game. Right, this guy Jason Pitts was this football player on the show, and he was married to his wife for 8 years. And she finally told him after almost a decade of being married that, like, yo, I married you because you was a meal ticket, right? Like I knew I wouldn't have to struggle anymore. And like that's now obviously that's fictional, but you see a lot of this kind of stuff play out. Vigilante brought up Larsa Pippen, which is Scottie Pippen's wife. They were married for probably 20 years, but she's now going out after they've broken up. She's going out here talking about how she got with Future and got with Tristan Thompson, and she's an Instagram influencer and getting paid. Like, so in a lot of people's mind, LaVar, just based off his definition that he's saying, that was a hoe. And even though they were married to have 5 children together, you know what I mean? Like, so that's just something to think about. That's why I think he said what he said. Is he correct? I mean, probably not. But that is his line of thinking. He's got his own son, so which is an in-house example, and then you see examples of people like Nicole Murphy and Larsa Pippen, and the list goes on of women who, even after being married for several years, seem to show these whatever we define as hoe type characteristics.
Okay, hey Boris, you said about the Superman outfit. I gotta say this: women got their Superman outfit too. She got the big boom, she thick, bam. That's just no different than the 30 million. Is you walk around that nice body, looking good. That it may not be 30 million, but it grabs her attention, and guys may not be coming to them just to marry her or be wholesome, but to try to hit it and quit it.
Yeah, that's 100% true. You know, I'm gonna show you guys something. There was a guy named Montrezl Harrell, and I know Jeff knows about him because he knows Montrezl played for University of Louisville, and he had a little situation with a groupie where apparently he flew her out for a one-night stand. He met her on Instagram or something, and he flew her out. And I guess she went and she took pictures with all his like in his house and with his car and everything, and she put it on Instagram. And when I was looking online, and it made me think about like this list when I was looking online on this list of how to spot a groupie. And one thing they mentioned is that the groupie likes to take the pictures like with the artist or other people because she's clout chasing. She may be clout chasing, right? Like I want everybody to know I was with this person, or here I am on the private plane. Here I am, in the mansion. Here I am in front of the fancy car. That kind of thing. What do you guys thoughts on that? I mean, is that even offensive, or is that just what's going to happen? If you got it like that, then people are going
to charge it to the game.
Yeah, I mean, he signed up for that. I mean, he asked for that. You can't fly a random girl from Instagram who likes to be seen already and fly her out. So she get flued out. Like, oh my God. She coming in like, oh my God, I didn't even know. Can I get a picture? Like she's coming in with all of it. Like she wants all the smoke and she does not care. So those are the women you don't fly out. You don't fly her out.
But wait a minute. He knew that though. These are grown men.
He did. Yeah, he knew it.
That, though.
He didn't know.
Well, hold on. That's what I'm saying. He paid for the ticket, all that stuff. So he knew what it was. Don't act like no victim now. He knew what it was. And when she did say, I might not get a second chance, I'm going to let people know I was here. I would do that. Halle Berry flew me in. She might dump me the next day. I'm going to let you know I was here. That's all she did.
Weird. It's a weird lifestyle to want to live. Like, I can't imagine myself being like, I want everybody to know. I think that's weird. But if that's all you got, You know, there's some girls that literally go work out. They keep their bodies tight. They keep their tits up. They keep their lashes on because when they spot an opportunity, they're going to take it. And so,
But he chose her.
And
He
what's wrong
chose
with
her,
that?
though. He chose her.
Yeah, he did.
He threw her out.
Right. And what's wrong? What's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with somebody just saying, "Look, you know, this is what I'm working with." I don't know about y'all. I'd be curious. Like, I'm asking fellas, like,
So gross.
if you knew you could just have a baby with somebody and never pay bills for the next 18 years, how many of y'all would consider doing it? If Oprah said, you know, like, let's say young Oprah said, if you get me pregnant and we have a baby, I'm gonna pay you $100,000 a month in child support.
I'm with that. I'm with Oprah. I got to have it. I got to have it. I got to have it.
Yeah, that's a hard deal to turn down. I'm telling you. I mean, so anyway, so let me ask y'all about this part. Well, you know, one thing he said that was real interesting was he said that if he meets a woman, if you 30 and she's 30, you got to ask like why she's still single at 30. That almost sounded a little bit unfair too. Because again, like y'all was saying, you know, if it's a man or a woman, some people will say if it's a man or a woman, then why are you still single at 30, right? But a man being single at 30, and I would say more like 35 or 40. I think those are different. Those numbers mean a lot more. They're how can I say this? 35 means a lot. It has a different meaning from 30. 40 has a different meaning from 35. So I would go to 35 or 40. I do believe that when you meet somebody 35 or older and they're single, male or female, it means something. It does mean something, right? I think it's sexist to say it doesn't mean something for the man or the woman, but it almost sounds like he was just giving like raw fatherly advice that could, in a certain context, be seen as good advice. It's just politically incorrect. What do y'all think?
Well, church girls. Wait a minute. He said church.
I didn't get to answer my question about what I would tell my son. So I'm gonna just because y'all didn't ask me. But I'm just gonna say this. I think it was good advice. I think that men go through phases. I think brother with the melanin shirt that I love so much, he said something great that I thought was really great because there are these phases that men go through and they don't mature as fast as women, right? And so if I can get him through his whole stage as my son, get him through the stage where it's like, so you got a different girl in here. Okay, what's her name? I don't know, Mom. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. Right. So just keeping him out of trouble until he matures enough and he's ready to settle down. Because when a man is ready for marriage or he's ready to learn, a teacher will appear. It doesn't matter. It don't matter, right? Men, I think there's such good women, not just Black women, but I think there's a better chance of a man meeting a good woman than vice versa. So you were about to say something about meeting, like while we're all single, but I think it's easier for a man to find a good woman because there's so many around than the other way around.
Okay. Vic, I think Vic wanted to respond as well. Go ahead, Roger.
I think I forgot. She captivated me with an answer. No, but I just think that people at church, he said that find them at church library. That don't mean that they're not hoes. I don't know where that stereotype came from. Because nowadays you don't know.
We know that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When he said it, though, that's the standard.
You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
So he's saying like, the library and so and so, you better make sure she got a book in her hand when she sees the library. She might have known you was coming. So, but it's vice versa too. I'm just saying, stop. You don't know. Everything's a dice shoot. People, if they're acting, everything's a dice shoot for a man or a woman. A woman can get gang ran on her. She got a good job, all these good things like that. So it's just about how he raised them. And I always tell my students, you want to be like in the movie Boys in the Hood. Let me out the car. You got to know when to get out the car when it comes to relationship and life decisions.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think it's so I'd be curious, John. I think that whole I wasn't sure how to feel about that whole statement about 30, right? when you're talking about, like okay, she's 30, she's single, there's something wrong with her. I don't buy into that logic, right? I don't believe that. But I do think that because also I think dating for men and women is different, though. I think that men, have a little more time, to be honest with you, right? We can have kids when we're 50, 60 years old, so there's not the same clock that we're working with. And so I'd be curious to know, like, how do you assess that kind of thing in terms of being honest about what men need to look out for without sounding sexist? I think about this because I wrote an article one time where I was talking about, guys being careful, like getting caught up with women who might get mad and accuse you of rape falsely or whatever. And I remember I was really surprised because a lot of people got mad at me for saying that, for even insinuating that a woman might falsely accuse a man. And my response was, fuck all of y'all, because this shit is real. It happens. The shit happens. And why are you gonna act like that shit don't happen? Are you serious right now? To black men, are you serious? So what do you think? I mean, I almost think that it's a choice, though, right? Like if you're a guy and you keep running into hoes, then that probably means you picking hoes. Like maybe you need, I mean, whatever a hoe means, whatever means, we haven't got to that. But that to me says like he's almost putting it all on the women. Like it's all the women's fault.
That's
like,
what we're saying.
You got choices.
I was saying that part is that guys make decisions too, and you know what you want. You hear rumors. Oh man, I heard that she's so much. Oh man, I want to see what she's about, man. So that happens. Now, don't get it wrong. Girls say the same thing. Oh, I heard about him. Da 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 da. But I just think that he did it in a way that as though his kids was, these goody two shoe kids that's gonna be innocently, in the NBA gonna get done by women and so and so. And I'm willing to bet you right now. I'm not saying Hollywood. I can name 1,000 students that don't know who the hell he is. The youngest one is about to go into the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Well,
if I saw them walking down the street, I wouldn't know who they were.
Yeah, well, it's more so about like the brand of the team, though. Like if it don't matter, if nobody knows who you are, but you play for the Denver Nuggets, they know who the Denver Nuggets are, right? So I don't even think they have to recognize him. They're like, okay, you play for the Nuggets, that means you're probably rich.
Or very tall, right?
That's right. Because New Edition, it was guys that was working as roadies came into our city because they had a New Edition pass. Girls, you're right. They had a New Edition pass, and they was roadies, and they was pulling girls too. Associated with New Edition.
Absolutely. I want to hear from John and Jeff. I haven't heard from them for a while. So, John, what are your thoughts on this in terms of what you're hearing?
No, I mean, I agree. It's entirely a choice, because after a while, and this is men or women, if you keep complaining about, man, I keep running into these women, they ain't about nothing, or they only want me for what I got or whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then after a while, at some point, if you keep dating this particular type of woman and you saying, I want a real woman, well, what are you doing to try to really find a real woman? What are you changing about? Just like you said, maybe stop trying to find a woman in a club. Stop trying to find a wife in a club. Stop trying to find a wife from Instagram or something like that. Like change your environment, change what you're doing, change how you move, and then you can probably find somebody different. Same thing with women. They'll be talking to these guys. Oh, these guys are trash. They keep coming. They be taking advantage of me and all this other stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, what about these guys are you attracting that keeps allowing these dudes to come into your life? There's something that you need to change about yourself, man. For both of them, have higher standards then, maybe not give certain things away so easily, or try not to go to certain places, and et cetera, et cetera. It's all about choice at the end of the day. So that I definitely believe. And I do agree with you on when he was talking about with the 30-year-olds, like if you're 30 and you're single, there's something wrong. And that's not entirely true. That's not really true at all. I mean, but what I typically do if I'm talking to somebody, it's going back to what you were saying about certain topics to where people get mad at you. If I'm talking with somebody, I'll try to typically have conversations here and there, and then I'll just gauge how they react, if they actually even listen, because if you like keep cutting me off or something like that and we're talking, then I can't talk with you because you're not even trying to listen. You're not even trying to understand where I'm coming from, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or maybe I mention something and this person just goes off and, oh, that's how you react to this kind of situation. And I haven't even told you about me yet, or maybe what I believe. So now I got a gauge of, how you going to react. So it's like, okay, I don't need to talk to that person. So that's kind of the things that I do. But ultimately, going full circle back to your answer, yeah, it's about choice. It depends on how you move, and these are the people you're going to meet. You can't keep trying to holler at girls at a basketball game venue, because chances are there might be some hoes. So maybe if you go to the library, maybe if you go to some other place, like to church, you still gonna find there's some hoes here and there in the church, but your chances are higher of finding a good home.
Let me ask this then.
There's some hoes in the house for sure.
Jeff, let me ask you, man. What is a hoe? What is a hoe to you? What does that mean?
It could mean a bunch of different things. I guess my best definition of a hoe, it's really hard to define, but it's someone that's like kind of for everyone, right? Like it's someone who lives the lifestyle that is promoted by a Cardi B, right? Like that is what, and I think that is what Lavar is essentially getting at, is that like, because we live in an era of social media, of mass communicating, like pushing certain styles of music, you find a lot of hoes, right? Like, not to say that there wasn't hoes in the 80s or the 90s. It's just we have access to them, right? Like you see Montrezl Harrell flying girls out. You see the city girls promoting a certain style of music. So like you get a lot of women who are influenced, not to say that they weren't going to be that way anyway, but they're influenced by certain things in our culture. And I'm specifically talking about Black people. There's certain things in the culture that influence women to try to live a certain lifestyle, right? Not to say that, once again, in the 80s or 90s, it might have still been that same way. But when you get mass promotion of a Cardi B, of the city girls, of a lifestyle, of the Instagram models or the Instagram, social media, Twitter, what's popping, what's buzzing. And that is what, influences a lot of women from the time that they can hear it, listen and recite lyrics back to you from that age, whatever age that is, up until they're, up and through their adulthood.
So it's not necessarily, so I got a question, because you said that your definition of a hoe is a woman who is for the street, right? She's for everybody. But Cardi B isn't for everybody. She got a whole husband. And so
but
WAP
is, if I wanted to see Cardi B's WAP right now, Tierra, I could go online and find a picture of Cardi B's WAP.
That's because she's an entertainer. It's a persona. Those are pictures. She's an entertainer.
Is a persona?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that, Tierra.
No. Because I don't want to be like, because my cousin be working, but one of my family members has been working with Cardi. Well, she worked with Cardi B as her publicist for a very long time, and I just know that Cardi is not like a ho-ho. Like, she's not a hoe. She's not.
She's a hoe, one hoe.
No, she's not a hoe.
Not anymore.
I'm serious.
She's not a whore. She is for her husband. She loves her husband. She wants a family. She wants all the things that a woman wants. But she just has a persona.
So
I think Cardi B might not be the best example, though. If you listen to her lyrics, though, she what was one of the lyrics I heard? Need a little, shake a little ass, get a little dough. Shake it real fast, get a little more. Right, that's just one of a 10,000. Okay, Benji, go ahead, Roger.
I think it's more like, when rappers do gangster stuff and hit the streets, then they get married and then they switch up their persona. I'm hoping that, and I think that's what she's saying, because she gets stripped.
I'm saying, because
so now G.I. and all them, they're conscious now. They're doing different things. But before, I think it does apply to Cardi B the same way. She did that now. She wants a family. So I think she should have the same right as T.I., Meek Mill. All of a sudden, these guys are now activists. Jay-Z, from drug dealers to now lead the nation. Same thing.
But we never said a hoe can't be an activist. We got activist hoes out here. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Hey, what's the difference between a hoe and a bee?
A hoe and a bee?
Yeah, I ain't gonna say the word.
Well, you know, I mean, I think
A hoe and
you talking about a bitch?
a hoe and a bitch.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean,
A hoe and a bee.
a bitch is a different kind of
no,
whole
it's on this movie. Fear of a Black Hat. A hoe fucks everybody. A bitch fucks everybody but you.
Well,
I can't
you
believe
know,
we're having this conversation right now.
I would say this. I think Cardi B, you know, if you go just by the lyrical content, I would classify her as a hoe, but it does not mean she's selling it on the corner, right? You know, right? She's a wife, she's a housewife. But if you listen to the lyrical content,
But ain't that her persona though? Ain't that her persona? If somebody put it in the movie,
But she didn't write it, boys. She's just a performer.
I will say something though. Like, although Cardi B might not be living that life, she promotes it, right? So when you promote getting a Birkin bag, or if he ain't buying you a Birkin or paying your bills, then you ain't winning or whatever. Then those who aren't Cardi B, right, who aren't changing their life, because Cardi did live a certain lifestyle before she was married.
Sure.
She had a life, right? Like we all know that. So, but there are women who live by those lyrics. It's not just persona to them. It's life. Like it's life. And so when you say that, those create, maybe Cardi's not a hoe anymore, right? But there are hoes that are disciples of Cardi. Like that's just how it
just
works.
like y'all for
That's where mamas come in, and parents and people that care about you come in and say that's entertainment. Because we could have said the same thing about gangster rap in the 90s. Everybody shut up.
So if you use gangster rap as an example, though, right? If I'm a rapper who says I don't kill people, I just tell everyone to go kill people, and real teenagers are going to prison, killing people, and they listening to your music. Like when guys do drive-bys, they're not listening to country music. They're not bumping, they're not bumping Stevie Wonder. They're usually bumping, some gangster rap. So is there not some degree of accountability where you might say, look, I don't put my hands on the dope, but I am the kingpin, so to speak. Like I don't actually commit the murder, but I gave the order, and that makes me somewhat culpable for what happens. What do y'all think about that?
You are the representative of this market. You are the representative of this product in a sense. Even though that might not be the lifestyle that you live, you are the representative. You're the face of this campaign, of this product that they're pushing out. And basically, you are giving your consent. It's like, hey, I put my name on that. Same thing like American Gangster. That's my brand. I put my name on that. I stand behind it. Even though that might not be what you do, but you do have some kind of responsibility, because there's these people who don't know any better, but they're listening to you. And this is influential media. You're being advertised to every 5 minutes on your phone, when you're out driving. So they know that people can be influenced. And if you are a part of that negative influence, then you got to have some kind of responsibility. At least be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I own up to that. I messed up on that end. I should have been doing something better, but I mean, it is what it is,
Well,
so
we still have to allow people to evolve.
Let me stand up for hip hop for a second.
Go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
Rappers always have have been held to a higher burden of that, and it's kind of unfair when you really think about it. If I really get into my hip hop bag, what Cardi's doing is no different than Lil' Kim and Nicki Minaj and people for them. But if you take an actor like Halle Berry, that's my girl, she did Monster Ball. She did different things. Denzel played a corrupted cop, and they don't get held to the same standard as hip hop get held to. And I've been pushing this. And when you look at the hip hop fight, some of y'all too young to remember where hip hop was hard, couldn't even get on television, couldn't get on MTV, all these things because of what they said. They are rapping, they are playing a persona. A lot of rappers ain't gangster. That's the first thing. They're not gangster, but they follow that tradition. So I don't think that artists are held to the same standards as actors are held to.
Come on, there wouldn't even be TV.
I don't think it should be.
Have TV at all.
Well, they shouldn't be, because acting is acting. Like, that's fake, right? Like, now you can tell me what a lot of rappers are doing is fake, or whoever's in the hip hop community can tell me what a lot of rappers are doing is fake. But when I see in the last week King Von, Boosie, and Mo3 all get shot in the same week, King Von's dead, Mo3's dead, and Boosie is all shot. That's real. You know what I'm saying?
They shot him with fake bullets.
Yeah, Denzel got shot in a movie, but that was fake. Like he went back home to his wife and his kids. Like,
so you trying to tell me Scarface and the drug didn't have no damn influence wearing the Scarface shirts and all that stuff that had no influence? Are that's what you trying to tell me?
No, I'm not saying that they didn't.
Playing New Jack City and that type of thing that had no influence. That's what you trying to tell me?
It did, but I think that what Jeff is getting at on that though, Rogers. I feel like there's like a realness that
you in Chicago.
Like no,
Chicago, man. Where I'm from. You in Chicago.
But check it out though. Like if you King Von's out of Chicago, right?
Yeah. King Von is.
Okay. So he's part of that drill rap culture and stuff like or drill right? You can't be a drill rapper where people know you faking. Like if you out here claiming shit, talking about I'm on old block, this and the other. I would never say that because that's not my life, and I know that people would take great offense to that, right? Like there's an expectation in some strands of hip hop when you really are supposed to be the guy that you're pretending to be in the music. So Rick Ross gets away with lying, right? Everybody they revealed what he was. And he gets away with it. But a lot of these guys, like in Chicago, like they really, really are actually doing this stuff. And so I think that's a little different from like an actor who, I'll play one thing today and something else the next. What you think about that?
But I just think that it's different because it's in the now. It's in the now right now. If you move King Von's death and the other death away, you still got that same thing going on in Chicago without King Von or Young Pappy and all these others. Without that, you still got killings. You still got people killing out. Kansas City, Missouri, one of the top murder states. Ain't nobody following no rapper around here doing that. It just happened. Society suggests that. So you come from a society that see drugs, see killing, see gangs. Then if you're a rapper, you paint your environment. So what you have to worry about is the same people taking that style that's in Nebraska, taking that style that's in Iowa, and things like that, and they mimic that. And so a lot of rappers, when Ja Rule and 50 Cent had their beef, 50 was saying that you're not real, Ja Rule. You're not real. Studio gangster. Why did rappers in the 80s and 90s talk about studio gangsters? Why? Because it was actors. A lot of Ice Cube ain't gangster. But he came in to fill a part in Compton. He went to school. He was from a gangster environment. You don't have to be gangster to live in a gangster neighborhood. And see those things.
I just didn't think it was fair to compare like an actor, right?
But
like
it's entertainment, though. It's entertainment.
I think he's just saying the influence of music and movies.
Yeah, I think it's a little deeper than just
entertainment. Videos are movies.
Okay, so let me put. All right, so for for acting, if me growing up on hip hop, on movies, I can look at Will Smith doing all these amazing action scenes. Oh man, I would love to do that. Hell, I could look at all kind of these action movies where they're doing all this dope stuff and Tom Cruise jumping out of planes and all this stuff. That's amazing. But all this stuff in the movies, I know that stuff is fake. But music, I might necessarily know that the music is fake. So as a kid, listen to me though. Let me finish. I feel as a kid that I don't know the difference unless somebody comes and tells me. And even though I remember some of my brothers would tell me, "Oh man, that's not real. That's not real." I didn't want to believe them because I'm like, man, Jeezy wouldn't go out and say this stuff, or Rick Ross wouldn't go out and say this. But then once I got older, it's like, oh, but I could have been one of them kids that went out there. It's like, shit, they doing it. I'm gonna go and sell this dope too. I'm gonna go and hurt my people. Too. That's a lot more because of the people that I'm hanging around.
South Central, Boys in the Hood, Minister Society. Y'all gonna tell me?
That's what I'm saying. All the people that are around, they didn't influence us like music did.
Not like music.
Influential.
Music does have a big impact.
I'm done.
I just want to say this, and Roger, I agree with what you're saying. I understand that overall you're saying as a society, violence is violence. It's going to influence us. It's impacting us. So I worked in reality as a producer. I worked as a reality TV producer for a really long time. And one of the reasons why I left reality TV was because of the toxicity that existed in it, right? Like, I feel like as a culture, reality TV has made us more confrontational. It's made us less likely to deal with issues without popping off. It's created this kind of like weird ass culture. I feel like, and it's had an influence on Black culture in particular. And so I understand what you're saying. The more we watch and consume certain things, those things get in our spirit, whether we want to admit it or not. We watch violence on movies. I get it. I don't watch. I don't watch regular TV a whole lot because I got a 9-year-old, and so her and I just watch animated films because to me it just feels safer. It's not like I know people ain't gonna get shot up or people gonna come out with guns because there is something that it does to the spirit. So I understand where you're coming from, Roger.
And rappers are writing voice. Let me tell you why. Let me go deeper. I appreciate you, sister. Rappers are writing about Scarface, like Scarface. I shoot you like Tony Montana. Where the hell are they getting that from? Where the hell are they getting that from? They getting it from the movies. They dressing up in suits. Even Jay-Z dressing up like the Rat Pack. And different people dressing up like gangsters in their videos.
Because art is creating, art is imitating life.
Exactly. Even Rakim, let the rhythm hit him. He dressed up like gangsters, old gangsters from the 50s with the Tommy guns. What do you mean? Yeah. Television got just as much influence. Scarface have so much influence to this day. I always tell people, I don't know why y'all copy Scarface when you should be copying Superfly, because Superfly was the only one that got away.
Well, you know what?
Got shot up 1,000 times.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think that we can't act like this stuff doesn't have an influence.
It does, but it should be. It's not. What I'm saying is, there's so much laid on rappers, and not looking at the business and the corporations that pay these young people. Just like you saying that a young player can go into the NBA and be taken out by groupies. Same thing. Young rappers coming from poverty getting thrown a bag to them. A bag to spit that violence and stuff. It's the same thing. Who's watching them? Who's mentoring them? Who's telling them, hey man, you don't want to be like Tupac? Because since Tupac and Biggie died, they doubled down on the murders.
Right. I do agree with you. It is about who they're choosing to pay, who they're choosing to help.
So that's what I'm saying. But see, they can pay them and don't have to have the blame for it either, boys. They can pay them and don't have to have the blame. King Von's album came out, he died, but his album's still coming out.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the thing. We're used to rappers dying. Like we're used to hearing about it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks there's a rapper that dies, and he's like 24 years old, and and it's almost like clockwork, and it's kind of crazy. And you're right, it's about what the industry is pushing forward and allowing, because they wouldn't allow you to go and make music about killing Jewish people, or they wouldn't allow you to make music about killing animals, but they'll let you make music about killing Black men all day long, and it's completely fine and okay. And these same companies will scream Black Lives Matter at the same time just because it's trendy.
Because we're a resource. We've made rap a resource. I can use the culture. I can be with the culture. I can love the culture, but I'm not going to help the culture. What your boy Tariq talked about, foundational. Hey, we can use. Hey, you can be foundational. We love your culture, but we don't love your struggle. You can have that. We're gonna make money off you and all these different things, and you go to jail. You get looked. So we'll find a new one next year, as Q said.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's go. Let's circle back to the hoes and give our final thought on Lavar Ball and the hoes. Always got to get back to the hoes.
Way to reel it back in, boys. Way to reel it back in.
So each of you, I would like to make sure everybody knows how to follow all of you real quick. So very quickly, in a couple seconds, John, you're JT Slim Cutter, right? That's your all right. So JT Slim Cutter, I'm gonna put this in the on the banner so people can see how to follow you on Instagram. So tell me, John, give me kind of a quick summary in terms of closing thoughts. Maybe 60 seconds of closing thoughts on the whole conversation. the HO conversation or the whole HOE, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a hard world out there. It's a dangerous world, but we have to prepare ourselves and prepare our children for what's to come. So, Lavar Ball, I don't think that he said it in a rough way. Yes, he did say that, but I mean, I feel as though he was being honest, and that's something that we should all take into account, and also have self accountability as well on our choices that we make. So, if you know now that his son knows that this is a very high possibility now that he's going into the NBA, or he will be. Like, how do you counter that? Because a lot of people, they just want to focus on the problem and not try to find a solution. So what is the solution? How do I work my way around it? So that's what I think is what we all need to do. Like, whatever the situation is, if I go out and all I see are hoes and all I find are hoes, why can't I find a good woman? Okay, well, what do I need to do to change either myself or the environments that I'm going in to find a better woman? And the same thing in regards to women who are trying to find good men. Like, am I turning down, this person that actually could be good for me, but I'm just kind of stuck on the person that I'm talking to? And like I said, same thing with men. It's like, so we just need to make better choices in general. And that's all I got to say. So that way you can escape the hoes. But if you're in an environment, you keep being around hoes, that's what you're going to attract. You're going to marry a hoe, and the hoe is going to want to take your money. And now she got whole money, and she on Instagram shaking her booty. So that's what it is.
She got your whole wallet. All right.
Your whole wallet.
Sierra, aka Miss Black Hollywood, your final thought.
I think that men, it really just depends on where, like I said earlier, where they are in their lives. I mean, he's gonna go through a whole phase. There's no escaping that. He has a lot of money. He's flashing it. He's attracting the hoes. He kind of probably will want the hoes, and then at some point he won't. At some point he'll evolve into a man that wants a wife, and then that'll be that. And so for all the men out there who are ball players or have money, that seems to be what happens. Like they do what they want, and then when they're ready to settle down, they'll have those women with those quality women will appear. But I will say this, men, if you want a quality woman, they're out there. Just stay away from all the women with all the on Instagram and all the places, all the wrong places, all the clubs and all that. Stay away from that. Go to the library. Hoes don't read.
All right.
Hoes don't read.
Okay, so Jeff Licey Jr., your final thought.
Yeah, so with Lavar, like you said, Lavar, he kind of put it very blunt, very rude, and it wasn't 100% accurate, right? Like, LaMelo was 19 years old. He just got picked number 3 overall in the draft. People are going to know who he is, especially in a small town like Charlotte, right? Like, that's really what it comes down to. When you're a big ball player in a small city like Charlotte, like, you're going to run into some hoes. But at the end of the day, when it's time, there are quality women out there. Like Miss Black Hollywood said, there are quality women out there, but you have to mature and you have to make conscious decisions and be smart about who are you with and why are you with them, and really dive deep into their personality when you ready to settle down. So you just got to be smart about it, make right decisions. Like John said, his dad, instead of just saying you're never going to meet the right woman, just help him, zero in on the right woman when that time comes.
All right. Visionary, aka Roger Suggs. Your final thought.
I just think that it's like a lot what Miss Black Hollywood said. I think that men do go through phases. We all go through phases. Some people want to live a second childhood. They still chase the so-called hoes. I think that what he said is how he does what Jeff said. It's draft time. It's spotlight time again to get him on ESPNs and all the. We can't go to ESPN. I think Fox and things like that. He did for that. I think that it goes both ways. I think there's a lot of things we need to tell our kids, girls, and because the whole somebody's daughter and the whole guy is somebody's son. So I just think that we just got to just look at it a little deeper and make sure that watch out for those that may expose you to wherever you are. So that's how I look at it. At the end of the day, it can fall on anybody. TruthToReason.com.
All right. All right. So so I'll give my quick thought on this. I think that what Lamar was doing, I think he was well intended, and I think it's good advice to warn your sons about the dangers that lurk out there. I mean, people that become rich and famous, they're not going to see you the same as they see everybody else. It's easy to get caught up in a bad situation if you're not careful. Now, I think at the same time, there is a responsibility that comes with that. This sort of hopelessness that you'll never meet a good woman in the NBA. That's not true. You can meet good women. You just got to go look for them. And I think that that's an insult to good women everywhere, because that basically says they're invisible. When I go out to LA, I would see black men who don't even date black women. The black women are like not even. I don't. Yeah, I don't know who created that messed up mentality. Even LeVar himself. I mean, he did not marry a black woman. He no disrespect to that. I mean, that's his right. But I think that when you talk about your choices and the types of people you bring into your life, that really is up to you. And if we're gonna hold women to that standard, like if a woman's complaining about all her baby daddies, right? Then you can say to her, like, well, why did you pick those baby daddies, right? Well, the same thing is true with men. If you're surrounded by hoes all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, well, then what are you looking for? The hoes are attracted to you. Maybe you are a hoe magnet. Maybe you are seeking that. And we know that men love a big button smile. We know that the same way that lady wants you because you got $30 million and you world famous. Well, you also want her because she got long, pretty hair and a big booty and all these other things that you like. So stop it. I mean, seriously, everybody wants something that somebody else got. A lot of relationships are somewhat transactional, and I don't think we have to put that on women, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's good fatherly advice to say, son, be careful. Everybody ain't got your best interest at heart. There's a difference between a good woman and a not so good woman. But I think to kind of make it like you're perfect and they're not, I think that's where I would stop LeVar and say, come on, man, like that's not how you lay it out there. There are good women around. You just got to learn how to look for them. So that's my 2 cents. I want to say thank you to the panelists, Jeff Lightsey Jr., Roger Suggs, aka Vigilante, truthorreason.com. Jeff Lightsey's at JLightsey7. You can follow him on Instagram. Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. She's at Miss Black Hollywood, MS Black Hollywood on Instagram. And John F. Thomas, who is also you can find him at JT Slim Cutter. So everybody, make sure you subscribe to the blackballschannel.com. This is where brothers go in there and control the conversation and get to talk about the issues that they want to talk about. Jeff is on there, I know, every day, 4 or 5 times a day, breaking down sports all the time. And I see John in there sometimes, and Roger, you invited to come through. And also anybody else who wants to ever, submit content on their platform, especially black men who have opinions and want to share them, and you can communicate your opinion effectively. Just send me a Facebook inbox, and maybe we can work something out. And so anyway, we're out of here, guys. Have a good night. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. We gone. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see y'all soon. Take care. Peace.
Bye.